Okay, I'm here. I'm sorry. I'm a little late. But I'm getting it started here. Let me just make sure we're all good. Great. All right. Welcome to another live watch along. That's the wrong thing behind me here. Let's restart that. There we go. Perfection. Oh, don't like that. Nailed it. All right. We're firing on all cylinders here. Let's just make sure that this... Great. Great. All right. Let's get the show on the road. We're going to start with Fed Chair Powell, I think. He's telling us about our economy in the United States. So let's see how that's doing. Any guesses before Chair Powell comes on and tells us? Anybody want to guess how we're doing as an economy? Or, I am a few minutes delayed here, so there's a chance you've already heard.
Good afternoon. My colleagues and I remain squarely focused on achieving our dual mandate goals of maximum employment and stable prices for the benefit of the American people. Despite elevated uncertainty, the economy is in a solid position.
Solid economy,
the unemployment
guys.
rate remains low, and the labor market is at or near maximum employment. Inflation has been running somewhat above our 2% longer run objective.
Yeah, tell me in the comments if you think Powell should
In support
resign.
of our goals, today the Federal Open Market Committee decided to leave our policy interest rate unchanged. We believe that the current stance of monetary policy leaves us
change in
well-positioned
monetary
to respond
policy.
in
You
a
heard it here
timely
first,
way
or
to
possibly
potential
second.
economic developments. I will have more to say about monetary policy after briefly reviewing economic developments. Recent indicators suggest that growth of economic activity has moderated. GDP rose at a 1.2% pace in the first half of this year, down from 2.5% last year. Although the increase in the second quarter was stronger at 3%, focusing on the first half of the year helps smooth through the volatility in the quarterly figures related to the unusual swings in net exports. The moderation in growth largely reflects a slowdown in consumer spending. In contrast, business investment in equipment and intangibles picked up from last year's pace.
Yeah, someone on TikTok says he's the only one keeping us going.
Remains weak.
He's the only... If he cut
In the labor
rates
market, conditions have remained solid.
while things are good,
I ordered 200
that would
hand
probably
forged
be
knives
bad.
for my
Oh, how
dorm room
embarrassing.
and built a Wix website to sell.
How embarrassing that this commercial would just pop up. I'm not supported by Wix.
At 4.1% remains low and has stayed in a narrow range over the past year. Wage growth has continued to moderate.
Everyone
while
in my
still
comments is
outpacing
disagreeing
inflation.
with what
Overall,
he says,
a
but
wide set of
I
indicators
gotta be honest with
suggests
you.
that conditions in
He
the
does
labor
have
market
more
are
information than all of you do
broadly imbalanced
individually.
and consistent with maximum employment. Inflation has eased significantly from its highs in mid-2022, but remains somewhat elevated relative to our 2% longer run goal. Estimates based on the Consumer Price Index and other data indicate that total PCE prices rose 2.5% over the 12 months ending in June, and that, excluding the volatile food and energy categories, core PCE prices rose 2.7%. These readings are little changed from the beginning of the year, although the underlying composition of price changes has shifted. Services inflation has continued to ease,
Oh, certain
while
areas.
increased tariffs are pushing up prices in some categories of goods. Near-term measures of inflation expectations have moved up on balance over the course of this year on news about tariffs, as reflected in both market-based and survey-based measures. Beyond the next year or so, however, most measures of longer-term expectations remain consistent with our 2% inflation goal.
Yeah, we're still trying to get to 2%.
Our monetary policy actions are guided by our dual mandate to promote maximum employment and stable prices for the American people. At today's meeting, the committee decided to maintain the target range for the federal funds rate at 4.25% to 4.5%, and to continue reducing the size of our balance sheet.
If people want me to talk about Warped Tour, then you have to wait.
Monetary policy based
Wait
on the
till the
incoming
end.
data, the evolving outlook, and the balance of risks. Changes to government policies continue to evolve, and their effects on the economy remain uncertain. Higher tariffs have begun to show through more clearly to prices of some goods, but their overall effects on economic activity and inflation remain to be seen. A reasonable base case is that the effects on inflation could be short-lived, reflecting a one-time shift in the price level. But it is also possible that the inflationary effects could instead be more persistent, and that is a risk to be assessed and managed. Our obligation is to keep longer-term inflation expectations well anchored and to prevent a one-time increase in the price level from becoming an ongoing inflation problem.
Yeah, we know that what you're trying to do is
well positioned to learn
control
more about the likely
inflation.
course of the
It's like
economy
your
and the
whole
evolving balance of
gig
risks
here.
before adjusting our policy stance. We see our current policy stance as appropriate to guard against inflation risks. We're also attentive to risks on the employment side of our mandate. In coming months, we will receive a good amount of data that will help inform our assessment of the balance of risks and the appropriate setting of the federal funds rate. At this meeting, the committee continued its discussions as part of our five-year review,
what if we had a
of our
fun
monetary policy framework.
Fed
We
chair
focused on
do the
potential
talking?
revisions to our statement on longer-run goals and monetary policy strategy.
Does it
and
have to
are
be
on
this
track to wrap
boring,
up
a
any
boring guy?
modifications by late summer. The Fed has been assigned two
Did someone
goals
just
for
turn on
monetary
their
policy:
Mac?
maximum
Did
employment
someone hear
and
that
price
Mac
and stable prices.
sound
We remain
effect?
committed to supporting maximum employment, bringing inflation sustainably to our 2% goal, and keeping longer-term inflation expectations well anchored.
Hello to
Our
Serbia.
success in delivering on these goals
Wow.
matters to all Americans. We understand
We're
that
talking
our
about the
actions
U.S.
affect
economy,
communities,
so
families, and
I don't know
businesses
how
across the country.
Interesting that would be, but we're going to listen
Everything we
to
do
Trump
is
talk in a
service
second
to our
also.
public mission. We at the Fed will do everything we can to achieve our maximum employment and price stability goals. Thank you. I look forward to your questions.
Thanks, Chair Powell. There's a lot of lean in the markets, and not to mention out of the administration for a rate cut now in September. Is that expectation unrealistic at this point?
Hello to Portugal. Wow, people are coming
So,
here from all over. I love
As you
it.
know, today we decided to leave our policy rate where it's been, where I would characterize as modestly restrictive. Inflation is running a bit above 2%, as I mentioned, even excluding tariff effects. The labor market's solid, historically low unemployment. Financial conditions are accommodative, and the economy is not
Okay.
performing as a
So
restrictive
I don't know what these
policy. We're
questions
holding
are
it
going
back
to reveal, but
inappropriately.
basically,
So it seems to
he says the economy's okay. Now, a second ago, a lot of people were disagreeing in my comments, and now I'm paying attention. How do we feel? Fed Chair Powell says that the economy is chugging along, that inflation's not too bad, that it's down from 2022. Do you feel better or worse off than 2022? Technically, in a lot of ways, you are. Just so you know. But do you feel that way, is what I'm asking. 2022 is when gas prices were like $6 a gallon. So things are down, but they're still very expensive. Yeah, lots of layoffs going on, people are saying. Intel, Nissan, I see. The economy isn't okay. Tariffs on coffee. Do any of these elected officials go grocery shopping? Yeah, we've heard a lot about grocery prices going down, but none of them are talking about the price gouging that's been happening at grocery stores that they admitted to years ago. That the wholesale cost of food has gone down. When Trump says that the cost of eggs has gone down, he's not lying. The wholesale cost of eggs has gone down. That's the price that the grocery store buys the eggs from the farmers for. But when we, the consumer, go to buy eggs at the grocery store is hiking those up. The grocery store. And then when the price of the eggs came down, the grocery store prices did not come down. And in some places they have come down. But they certainly have not come down to, as low as some of the numbers that we've heard, because the numbers that we're hearing are the wholesale prices. Just a quick little... Sorry, thank you for coming to my TED Talk. My egg talk. I didn't mean to actually get off on that tangent. Trump spoke earlier today. He signed a congressional bill. Yeah, this is what I want. This is what we want here.
Nice to see you.
Nice to see
Had a
you.
great weekend. And we,
Great weekend.
as you
It's
know,
Wednesday.
we made our deal with the European Union.
Is this the right thing? Yeah.
The Japan deal is done. Many of the other deals are done. Indonesia was a very big deal, big country actually. And they're wonderful.
Indonesia is a big country.
Hopefully wonderful for both sides. But it's literally trillions of dollars ultimately being brought into our country. And it was something that had to be done, and it is being done, and it's being done properly. We're now negotiating with various other countries, and the rest we're just sending out the bill to. We send a bill, we send a letter saying that you'll pay a certain tariff. And obviously, that's most of them because you have, as you know, hundreds of countries, a lot of countries out there. So we look at the deficit or we look at the surplus and we look at the country and how the country's treated us, and lots of other things go into the equation. And we make a decision as to what that tariff will be, and it's a pretty standard letter from that point on. And I want to tell you, this is something to me. It's a
Just
VA
a kind of a
website,
standard letter that we send
and
to
it's very
everybody.
important to me and to
You owe
many
this
of the
much.
people in this room.
Do not try to
So I'm
negotiate.
thrilled to sign the VA Home Loan Program Reform Act into law, and that is something that they've wanted to do for a long time. This legislation provides desperately needed relief to veterans and their families who have fallen behind on their mortgages, of which are.
If I need a new car, DM you. You DM me. I can't do that right now. DM me and let me know what you're offering.
It's sort of an amazing situation, and it helps keep our promise to end veterans' homelessness, and we're going to do that for America. We're going to do that for our great veterans. I'm thrilled to be joined by the bill's sponsor, Congressman Derek Van Orden. Where's Derek? Derek? Hello,
Literally
Derek.
right behind you.
I'm a Navy SEAL. Stack up.
Let's see. And Mike, how are you, Mike?
Mr. President.
These two gentlemen are terrific. They are working together, and they've been working together, Mike, a long time on this. So I just want to thank you both, and I'll ask you to say a couple of words. An estimated 61,000 American veterans are in danger of losing their homes, as you know. But thanks to this bill, the Department of Veterans Affairs will be empowered to pay loan holders the necessary amount to prevent foreclosures on our veterans, so our veterans won't be foreclosed and put out onto the streets. It's very important. This bill also creates a 5-year partial claim program that could benefit up to 3.7 million veterans. That's the kind of numbers you're talking about. It's big stuff. The costs of the program are fully offset and will add nothing at all to debt. It's common sense legislation at overwhelming support and passed unanimously in the House and the Senate. Wow. When was the last time that happened? That's pretty impressive.
If you're
My
on
administration's
YouTube,
committed to doing everything
youtube.com/Kellerman
possible
Comedy, I'm
to
putting
ensure
up
that our veterans
the
are
things that he
treated
just signed.
with respect and treated
Descriptions
as well
of
as
what
anybody in
he's
this country.
talking
They're
about.
so important, they're so great. They've suffered so much in many cases. In May, I signed an executive order to open the National Center for Warrior Independence in Los Angeles, California, which will house up to 6,000 homeless veterans. You know, until we came along, they treated the veterans far worse than the illegal immigrants. They came in and were staying in hotels, luxury hotels, and the veterans are staying outside of the sidewalk in the same hotel. Some pictures are just incredible. In addition, we'll also be opening a full-service VA center in New Hampshire, which is the only state in the union to not have a VA center. And I made that promise to the people of New Hampshire a long while ago, and we got it done. It's the only state that doesn't have, and yet you have a lot of veterans in New Hampshire. We're slashing the wait times at VA medical centers, and we're bringing back VA choice and VA accountability, which I had and the Democrats abandoned. It made it so much better. Accountability meaning if you treat our veterans badly, we treat you badly. You get fired and beyond that. And VA choice is you can get out and you can, if you don't have a doctor ready, willing, and able to take care of you within the VA, you go outside.
So I'm trying to
You,
find out if there's any like
Go see a doctor, you get
controversies
better,
about this.
and
And
we
the
pay
first
the
thing is
bill.
only that there's a gap
And the
between
veterans
what Biden's-
loved it. We had a
what Biden put in
92%
place
approval rating.
ending and the beginning
And what did
of
the
this.
Democrats do? They came along and they ended both of them, and they hired back many of the people that we fired. We fired people and replaced them with great, loving people. But we fired people who were sadists in many cases. They were
Sadists?
sick. They were thieves. They were stealing. And they hired them back. The accountability, meaning the
Thieves,
VA
maybe.
accountability, it was a big deal getting it passed because you have
Sadists?
unions, you have all sorts of problems to go through. We got it through everything. And the Democrats, as soon as they got back, they hired many of the worst people right back, and we're getting rid of them. But I want to thank the
Sadists
two
is a
gentlemen
bit
standing
strong,
behind
I
me, and
think.
I'd like to ask you just to say a couple of words, and then we'll take a few questions if you'd like. And we'll sign the bill, and our veterans will be very happy about it. Thank you.
Somebody said something about
First off, thank you, Mr.
Trump
President,
not
for signing
liking
this bill
veterans
today.
or calling them losers
Let
or
me tell
whatever.
you
And I
that
just
not
want
only
to
this bill,
just
which
say,
will help make sure that those veterans
if
have
this
got-
is good
that
for
have got
veterans,
themselves
it's good
in a
for
situation
veterans.
Where maybe they would be foreclosed on, it gives them just a little bit.
You
extra
know, whatever he
help
said in the
without
past.
The government going into a banking business.
What
like
does
we
that
had
have to do with him
previous
doing
in-
something good for veterans right now?
administration. I also want to say thank you too, though, for appointing Doug Collins as our secretary for the VA. As the chairman of the VA, having the opportunity to work with Doug, one, because we worked together before, but he has the right attitude, and the attitude is the VA is not about bureaucracy. It's about the veterans, and we want to keep it that way. That doesn't mean we don't have a good workforce. What it means is that workforce is focused on the veterans, not on making sure that the VA grows, but making sure that the VA does the job it's supposed to do. And thank you, Mr. President, it's your leadership that allows that to happen.
Thank you
Now
everybody
I'll
for coming
talk.
here today. Thank you, Mr. President, for hosting us here. I'm the longest serving enlisted member of the United States military to ever get elected to Congress in the history of our nation.
Wow.
And I'm unequivocally stating right now that President Donald J. Trump is the most positive, pro-veteran president in the history of this country.
Holy
And
shit.
so he backs up
What an
his
endorsement.
words with deeds, and this is another example of how
What the fuck do you have to
President
say to
Trump is taking
that?
care of our veterans. So, sir, I'm
Person who
very
was asking
thankful
about Trump
for you,
hating veterans?
for your leadership, and let's get this thing done and get our veterans into homes. So God bless you, and God bless the United States.
See, haters will just say that he was paid to say that.
We'll take a couple of questions.
This is why we don't get anywhere.
Get it done. Been waiting a long time. And I do want to commend Doug Collins because I hear he's doing
a fantastic job.
He's done an incredible job. Okay. Is that a good one?
That's a good one.
No water paint? It's a very important bill, and we want to thank everybody for.
Someone said, get that boot out of the back of your throat. There's no boot. This is a completely neutral take. I don't care whether you love or hate him. I have no feelings about him whatsoever, personally. Someone asked about some past thing he said about veterans. We just heard a veteran testimony, and he signed something that's benefiting veterans. I mean, any past transgression is irrelevant in this particular moment.
Well, if that happens, then we just raise them. What you do is you lower them, and let's see if there's inflation. Right now, there's no inflation. Everybody thought
Over the
there would
top
be. All we have
praise.
is billions of dollars.
There's
of
no
cash
over the top
pouring
praise
into our
here.
country
It's not
from
over the
other
top
countries
praise.
that took advantage
It's
of
giving
us for many,
credit
many
where
years.
credit
They were
is
taken
due.
advantage of. We were like the stupid people.
I'll be the
that didn't know
last
what they
person
were
to
doing.
over the top
They took
praise
advantage of
anybody.
us. Other
I always get
countries,
ripped on for
friend and
criticizing
foe.
everybody.
And by the way, the
But if
friend
something is
was
good
often
for
was
veterans,
much worse than the
it's
foe
good for
when it comes to
veterans. What do you
trade.
want from me?
So if
not
that
'cause I love
happens, what
Donald
you do is
Trump.
You raise your rates and you do what you have to do to stop inflation.
I don't even
But
have
we're
any
keeping
particular
the
feelings
rates
about
high
veterans other than I
and
appreciate their
turning people
service.
from buying houses, and we don't want that. If for any reason that happened in a year or two, if
They
there's
deserve to
some
be taken
signs
care of, and I
inflation
hope-
coming back. Right now, there's not.
You
We
know,
have a great thing going.
I'm for
I think
that,
We're going to have
I
the
guess.
richest
I don't know if that's a
economy you've
bias
ever
per
seen.
se.
We have money coming in that we've never even thought about. at numbers that nobody's ever seen before. We have a deal with Japan where they're going to pay us $550 billion. We have a deal with Europe where they're doing $750 billion plus $400 billion plus $300 billion.
Someone asked what he just signed. It was the Veterans Home Loan Program Reform Act.
But likewise, so we have
It's about affordable
money
housing for
coming
veterans.
in, and we have no inflation, and we should, and we're very strong, and we should be lowering the rates. You know, each point that this gentleman keeps up costs us $365 billion a year. Think of that. 1 point, $365 billion. If you bring it down a point, we save 365. We should be the lowest interest rate, and we're not. We're 38, number 38, because of the Fed. It's all because of the Fed.
It's all because of the Fed.
Done a bad job. No, he's got a meeting.
There's
today,
probably
but
some
I
other
call him too
factors.
late. You know, he's always too late. Even if
Tariffs
he does it
and
today,
whatnot.
probably won't. I hear they're going to do it in September, not today. For what reason? Nobody knows. But Europe, as you know, cut their rates 11
My
times.
love for Trump has really come
in the
out,
last
yeah.
short period
I
of
think
time.
Bunny's being sarcastic.
But the good news is we're doing better than anybody anywhere in the world. Nobody's doing anything even close to us, even with the higher rates. The higher rates do affect housing, though, because people can't go out and get a loan or refinance their house. And it would be nice to have them be able to do that. That would be just another check of a box. That would be very important. Yeah, please.
Boy, affordable housing for regular people would be great. Unfortunately, the housing market has been usurped by the wealthy. They just want to be able to offload their homes that they bought in bulk.
Well, we're negotiating right now, and it's also BRICS. You know, they have BRICS, which is basically a group of countries that are anti the United States, and India's a member of that, if you can believe it. It's an attack on the dollar, and we're not going to let anybody attack the dollar. So it's partially BRICS, and it's partially the trade situation. It's the deficit. We had a tremendous deficit. So, as you know, Prime Minister Modi's a friend of mine, but
Juniper,
they don't do very much business in
$50
terms
to
of
the
business
channel.
with us.
Thank you.
They sell a lot
Juniper
to us.
Lane, no
but
message
we don't buy
though.
from them. You know why? Because the tariff is so high. They have one of the
I
highest
love the
tariffs
money,
in the
but
world.
you know.
Now they're willing to cut it very
Say something
substantially.
nice,
But we'll see
too.
what happens. We're talking to
Or say
India now.
something
We'll see
mean.
what happens.
Who cares?
It doesn't matter too much
Thank
whether
you.
we have a
I'm
deal
just
or whether
kidding.
we
I do appreciate
charge
it.
them a certain tariff. But you'll know at the end of this week. August 1st is a very big day for this country because money is going to pour into the United States like we've never seen before. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Mr. President. Senator Hawley introduced legislation that would ban members of Congress from owning or trading individual stocks. It
Thank you,
extends to
Juniper.
the president
That means a
and
lot,
vice
seriously.
president. Are you in favor of that legislation?
Well, I like it conceptually. I don't know about it, but I like it conceptually. And, you know, Nancy Pelosi became rich by having inside information. She made a fortune with her husband, and I think that's disgraceful. So in that sense, I'd like it, but I'd have to really see I study these things very carefully, and this just happened. So I'll take a look at it. But conceptually, I like it. And what I do think is Nancy Pelosi should be investigated because she has the highest return of anybody practically in the history of Wall Street, save a few. How did that happen? It happened by she knows exactly what's going to happen, what's going to be announced. She buys stock, and then the stock goes up after the announcement's made. And she ought to be investigated.
Lots of insider trading going on in the White House, I think.
Well, it's a lot of money. It's a lot of money. We're negotiating with Harvard now. They would like to settle, so we'll see what happens.
We're settling with Harvard. Love that.
America's debt to our Afghan war allies that kept our veterans safe over there. There's been some talk about sending a lot of them back.
No,
Would you let your
if we know the good ones and we know the ones that maybe aren't so good. You know, some came over that aren't so good. And we're going to take care of those people. The ones that did a job, the ones that were told certain things. A shame what happened. One of the most disgraceful episodes in the history of our country. The way we left Afghanistan was just a disgrace. But I understand your question fully, and we'll take care of 90% of your question, okay? I know what you mean. Thank you very much.
Mr. President, on the tariffs on India, are you still open to negotiate with India on the tariff front?
Well, we're talking to them now. We'll see what happens. Again, India was the highest, or just about the highest tariff nation in the world, and one of the highest, 100 points, 150 points or percentages. So India was one of the highest in the world. They had won 175%, and higher than that. You know, there's another higher one is Canada. They've been charging our farmers 200%, 300%, 400% for years, and nobody did anything about it. But India is one of the highest, so we're going to see. We're negotiating with India right now.
The India trade deal will be a big one. I mean, if they make a deal, obviously.
I don't know that. I don't know what you mean by that statement. Say it.
Bags full of Russiagate.
Oh, Bernbag. I thought you said appointed a man named Bernbag. Go ahead. You got to speak up.
Thousands of documents in these bags, supposedly burned bags of the FBI and secret room.
Well, I want everything to be shown. You know, as long as it's fair and reasonable.
Burn bags
will be shown, and it should be shown. And I think he feels that way, and I think Pam feels that way. But it's got to be, it's got to be stuff that really doesn't hurt people unfairly, because you have so many people involved. And if they can do that in a fair way, I think it's great. I think it's really great. The whole thing is a scam. It's a scam set up by the Democrats, and they love talking about it. But I would like to see people exposed that might be bad, and we'll see how that all works out. But it's getting to be very old news. You know, if they had anything, they would have done it the week before the election, because they were losing by a lot. If they had anything, they would have done it. They controlled the file. The Democrats controlled it. Comey and all this, sleazebags, every one of them.
Supposedly there's a
that
hidden
you read
room
about
inside
all
the
the
FBI
time, and I
headquarters
guess they've got
containing
some
multiple
problems
burn
now having
bags
to
filled
do
with
with
thousands of
yet a
classified
different
documents.
scandal.
Some
A big
related
one.
to the Trump-Russia investigation.
But they control that file, so I would think that if they would have had something in the file, they would have released it about a week before the election, maybe 2 weeks, right, Brian? Go ahead.
Mr. President, welcome home, by the way.
Thank you very much.
Good to see you.
It was a great trip. It was an amazing trip.
Look good.
For the country. For me, it was
Interesting.
great, but for the country, it was an amazing trip. Go ahead.
It was. Many parents are preparing to send their kids back to school in a few weeks. Now, this will be the first time they've gone back to school under the second administration for you. Now, the previous administration labeled a lot of parents domestic terrorists for showing up at school board meetings. What's your message to parents now as they return their kids to school, knowing that they have the support of you?
Well, the beautiful thing is, as you know, we've gotten rid of the woke. Woke is gone, and I think
We've gotten rid of the woke.
We're going to make sure it's buried. But the parents are now taking over the school boards. They're getting rid of these people that
I do think that it's
probably
a
didn't
kind
like the
of
children very
comical
much based on what they were doing.
terminology.
And it's a big
because,
difference. And, one of the other things, and I.
You know, a
watching
lot
these
of
talking points that the
Republicans
Democrats
call
have. They say, "Oh,
liberals
prices are up." Prices
sheep
are way
who are
down.
asleep.
Fuel is down. Groceries
And
are
the
down.
opposite of being
Things like
asleep
eggs
is to
are
be
way down.
awake
When I came in
or
my first week, the
woke.
eggs had gone up like 4 or 5 times. Nobody had ever
And
seen
so
anything
for
like
them
it.
to get rid of
And they were
woke
hitting me about eggs. I said, I just got here. I literally
is
was
kind
one
of
my
like
first
saying
news- maybe
they're
my
closing
first
their
news
eyes and going to
conference.
sleep. Just,
And we have
I'm not
eggs
saying
down
that's
now
what they're
to
doing or
they were
saying. I'm just
actually
saying
lower
that
than
that
they
is
did
like, if you
before.
just break down the
So I
words
just
that
want
they're
everyone
using,
to
it
know
sounds
prices
kind of like
are
that.
way down, and that's a big thing. Groceries, everything.
Black sheep in the house.
If you look at fuel, $2.35 a gallon. A lot of that.
$2.35 a gallon.
It's down $1.99. $1.99.
$1.99?
As opposed to $3.50, $4, and it went up a lot higher than that. They got rid of my policy, and then it went through the roof, and then they brought my policy back, but it was too late. They blew it. We had the highest inflation in the history of our country, and now we have no.
As a result of
inflation. We
the
have
pandemic.
nothing but cash coming in. The world respects us again. We're a really great, proud country, and I say it, I'll say it again. Many, many leaders of other countries, I'm dealing with a lot of them today on their tariff situation. They owe us a lot of money, but many countries.
They're saying we're hot.
Said to me, and almost in the same words, you were a dead country 1 year ago, and
Now
today
you're
you're
hot.
the hottest country
Hot,
anywhere in the world.
hottest
We're
country.
the hottest country right
Called
now,
it.
anywhere in the world.
He
and
loves
that's
that.
why we're taking care of our veterans.
That United
Good.
States
Thank
is
you
so
very
hot
much,
right now.
everybody.
We are the hottest country. We're on fire,
We're
really.
going along with China. We're doing doing fine with China. I think it's going to work out very well. We're right in step. I think we're going to have a very fair deal with China. Thank you.
It's a nice little note to end on. Hopefully we have a deal with China. That would also be good. No, go back to thank you for watching. I like that background. No, stop it. Stop it. No. Right there. Nailed it. What do we think about that, gang? I didn't say too much. I mean, it's good for veterans. Seems positive for veterans. I was looking it up while we were watching. All seems good. I mean, I'm not trying to kiss Trump's boot here. I think that he did something good today. That's okay to say. It's not a bias. Anyways, is there anything you guys want to talk about before I get out of here? Someone asked about Warped Tour, but that was like one person. So I don't know if you guys want me to talk about Warped Tour or Comic-Con or any of the things I did while I was away. But I'll hang out for a few minutes. I'll hang out for a few more minutes if there's something you guys want to talk about. How are we doing? Don't speak on the price of a gallon if you can't spell gallon. Okay, people are just getting mean in the comments. Where are the Epstein files? Well, let's talk about the Epstein files for just 1 second, because I've actually gotten it's a little confusing what's happening right now. Because for a long time, it seemed like the loudest, just from my perspective, reading through my comments on the videos that I've posted, it seemed like a lot of the Epstein outcry was on the right, were the conservative followers, the Republican followers. And then suddenly, just in the last week, maybe last week, suddenly the narrative was like, oh, Democrats, this is all Democrats want to talk about. Democrats are always talking about the Epstein files. But that wasn't, it definitely was not Democrats and liberals who were pushing for it before. Right? Because you remember how Clinton and, they were all also implemented? That's what I remember. Republicans wanted to show the world how terrible the Clintons were, and Bill Gates, all those people. And now suddenly there's a lot of talk about it just being a Democrat thing. That anybody have any insight on that? Is the only thing I can think of, the only reason I can think that narrative has shifted is that Trump started calling it a Democrat hoax. Before he said that, it was mostly Republicans who seemed to want the files released. And since he said that, I just see a lot more Republicans basically denying that they ever wanted to see it. As though it was only ever Democrats who wanted to see them. That could just be, I'm not saying that's true, I'm just saying that's how it seems from my perspective, and I get a lot of people from both sides talking in my comment sections, So, get all of them on the list. Lock them up. Trump knows his name is on the list. Also, we should clarify the fact that that the list is not like, it would be just a compilation of all the names mentioned throughout all the files. It's not like Epstein kept a list of names of people who touched underage people, it's not like a list of proven pedophiles or something like that. The list would just be a compilation of names mentioned throughout the files, and some of those names are things like, Epstein once said he wanted to call this person. That person, their name is in the document, so they would be on this list. So, I'm not sure the list would really give you everything that you want. No, it was people associated with them, but it wasn't just people associated with them, because we have examples of some of the names that were mentioned in the files, and those examples are not strong examples. They're examples of, like, Epstein once said he wanted to call Trump. Call this person and we'll, figure it out, or something like that. That's not the same as the file saying, and then Epstein went and raped somebody with this guy. It's not like Epstein at any point confessed to, everything that he did and who he did it with. So I would love for I hope the files get released. I just think they're going to be disappointing for a lot of people. And you still won't trust it. Let's say tomorrow they were like, you know what? Here are the files. Are you going to believe that it's, how many lines are going to be blacked out? How much do you think it's going to be completely untampered? Is someone going to find that, like, oh, I put it in some kind of PDF program and I can remove this part, which means the whole document's fake? That kind of stuff is going to happen. So it's like, I don't trust anything anymore. I just don't trust any of it. We'll just assume that the guy committed suicide, and anybody who was on his flight logs was unrelated to any of his evil doings. We don't have any other information to go on. So until we do, and even if we got more information, my point is that the information would be disputed, right? One way or the other. Either we're going to find out that they were lying before, or we're going to find out that they're lying now, and either way, they're lying and we can't trust them. So, that's just the unfortunate situation we've been put in. We just can't believe anything. So with that, with that little happy to-do, I'll say goodbye. I'll try to report the news later. I know that the giant earthquake off the coast of Russia occurred immediately after I posted yesterday's episode, and everybody was in the comments like, what about the tsunami that's going to destroy the entire west coast of California, of the United States? But that didn't happen. So I'm kind of glad I didn't report it, That said, I'll mention it because it was big news. And until then, make sure that you like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell so you get notified when I go live. If you're watching on Instagram or YouTube, if you're watching on Instagram or TikTok, go to YouTube. I know you use YouTube also. If you're watching me on YouTube, thank you. Thank you, but also make sure you're subscribed on Instagram and TikTok. The Substack is where you can really support me. You can always send me, the super chats and all that stuff. Thanks again, Juniper. You're awesome. She sent one today in YouTube while I was live. But, the best way to support the channel is by signing up for the Substack. Oh, you know what? Actually, let me ask you a question. Since I have a bunch of you live right now, let me ask you a question. I'm on Substack. That's how I funnel, if you want to support the channel, you can subscribe to my Substack. That's where I put all my extra content and stuff. I'm considering starting a Patreon instead. And I just don't know, do you think, are you, let me ask you this. If I had a Patreon, would you be more willing to subscribe to that than you are to my Substack? I'm worried that people just don't know what the fuck a Substack is. I love Substack. It's been a great platform for me. But if I had a Patreon, if I said, go subscribe to my Patreon, would that appeal to you more? I know I'm on a little bit of a delay, so I have to like wait for the answers to come in. But please let me know. I would really like your opinion on that. But I guess nobody has an opinion on that. Someone says Substack D's nuts. Okay, and on that note, I'm getting out of here. Thanks for giving a shit, everybody. I'll see you.